hands ashy? Y'all slightly. Well, I just put lotion on this. This ain't doing nothing. Y'all, is it giving auntie? It's definitely giving auntie. Not necessarily rich auntie, but it's definitely giving auntie. For sure. Hey there, friends. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Shalita here. For those of you returning, let me introduce you to Whitney, okay? But for those of you new here, no, this is not my hair. I mean, it's mine because I paid for it, but do not be alarmed if you see me in the next video bald or in a scarf looking bald. I am 40 and there are days that I just don't feel like fluffing my little fro. So your girl got herself a little wiggy wig, okay? Because I'm 40 and I ain't got time to be spending all day styling hair. Baby, we just gonna shake it on, pop it on, and go, okay? So today, friends, what I have for you is my August TBR. So we're not gonna talk about what I read in July, not in this video. We'll talk about that next week. If you see me in this same getup, mind your business, content creators. You know, you gotta film when you can. So I might be filming a whole nother video right after this one. So we're here to talk about what we plan on reading for August. I am ready to dig in. I already started a book, so yeah, let's talk about what we're reading this month for August. But before we get into things, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. All right, without further ado, let's jump into this TBR. All right, so I had a pretty good reading month last month. July was, I read 5 books, so that was pretty good for me. My record is like 6 books. So last month was a good reading month. I read some really great books. One was actually not on my TBR. But you know, it happens. You know, you get a mood pick every now and again. So there were a few times this year that I did like the random wheel. I did the, you know, my Pinterest picks, my picks, and it just I didn't stick to the script. I didn't stick to my TBR, okay? I didn't stick to my TBR, or I read some things that just weren't that great. So for July, I chose based on what I wanted to read, and I kind of wanted to stick with that for August. So you guys, if I'm doing this a lot, I had sugar today and caffeine, and I'm a little wired, just a smidge. Per usual, I have 10 picks. I already know I am not likely to read all 10 of these books, but as I've said in like every TBR video, I like to give myself a wide berth of options so I can pick and choose what I want to read. So I'm not confined, you know, to anything. Quite a few of these, you all, I mean, if you've been here, quite a few of these you've seen at some point, either in a haul video or a TBR video that I didn't stick to. So the first book that I'm gonna start with, I actually started reading this one already, is The Chain by Adrian McKenty. This is my first novel by this author. This is a thriller. Y'all, this book already started off with a bang. Like in the first chapter, I don't even think the chapter is even that long, but started off with a bang already. I'm gripped. I'm hooked. I'm dedicated. This woman's child is kidnapped, and the kidnappers call her and they're like, I have your kid. You need to do X, Y, and Z because somebody else has my kid. And if you want your kid back, you're gonna do X, Y, and Z, because you gotta keep this chain going. You can't break the chain. You gotta keep kidnapping, and it's wild already. So yeah, in order to get your kid back, you gotta kidnap somebody else's kid and traumatize somebody else's kid. Already started off with a bang. I don't know if I'm feeling 5-star predictions. I'm just here for the journey, okay? I'm just here for the ride. So, good so far. Next up, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akweke Emeze. So this one is gonna be a hot mess express. This novel is a romance, and it follows our main female character who she's a widow. I think it's been like 5 years since her husband died, and she is ready to put herself back out there on the market. She meets this guy, sparks fly, everything's going great until she meets his fine ass daddy. And she catches feelings for that fine ass daddy too. So this one sounds like a wild ride. I'm excited for this. Okay, so next pick. So the next one is a library book. I picked this up in my last vlog. This is The Last White Man by Mohsin Hamid. So this is fiction, speculative fiction, if you will. So apparently our main character, he's a white guy, and then wakes up one day and he's no longer a white guy. This is gonna deal, heavily with themes of race and prejudice, probably. So yeah, and bias. So interesting read. It's back to school time, right? Back to school time. My son starts school tomorrow. My daughter started school today. So I figure why not read some YA this month? I think one of these was actually on my TBR for last month. So we just rolled it over to this month. You read Sam by Dustin Tao. So this one is going to be a very emotional read, a very heartbreaking read. This is a story about a girl who is, she's going off to college. She's got her whole future ahead of her. She's got the love of her life. And then he dies unexpectedly. So we're going to be dealing heavily with grief with this one, and probably even some, probably even a journey of self-discovery, because like I said, she's heading off to college, right? And just learning to cope. Learning to cope after loss. So this sounds like this is going to be a very heavy read. I really am going to get to this one. Following along with that, y'all, I am terrified to read this book. I honestly am, because I keep seeing people talk about just how much of an emotional read this is, how they were sobbing. I literally was on Instagram this morning, and someone had posted, the books that made her sob, books that broke her down, and Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson was on that list. Y'all, so this is a young adult thriller, and I have read 2 other young adult thrillers by Tiffany D. Jackson at this point, and her thrillers are basically, social commentary. It's not the boogeyman under the bed with the knife type thriller. She is definitely dealing with heavy themes that are, prevalent in our world today. So in this story here, we have our main character. What is her name? Well, I think our main character's name is Claudia. We have our main character, her best friend goes missing. And, these are young Black girls. So her best friend goes missing, and it seems like no one cares. No one's doing anything to find her. Our main character is going to take it upon herself to find out what happened to her friend. Now, the fact that people keep talking about how gut-wrenching and how much they cried and sobbed over this book, it makes me truly believe that there's definitely not gonna be a happy ending here. So baby, ain't no way I'm reading these 2 back to back. Ain't no way I'm reading these back to back. Something's got to go in between these 2. I've been toying with the idea of doing like a back to school YA vlog. I do have another YA pick on the list, and this one is a This one is a thriller or horror, or a little combination of both. So You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Byron. So I did this last time. Byron, my girl Kaylin. This is by my girl Kaylin. So this will be my first read by Kaylin. I have not read anything by her, but I know that she is a force to be reckoned with in the YA thriller horror genre. So this is giving those Final Girl vibes. This is giving Camp Crystal Lake. So I am excited to read this. So it might be like, you know, it might be like a little sandwich situation. It might be like boo-hoo-hoo. Ooh, thrills and chills. Then boo-hoo-hoo again. We'll see, you know, just a little sandwich, you know, drama, action drama. We'll see, but I'm excited for those. I feel like I say that a lot, like I'm excited for those, I'm excited for those. Like, who reads something they're not excited for? Like, where are my Tiffany D. Jackson fans at? Y'all, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how destroyed is this book gonna make me? Like, is it, you know, Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction sitting and just flicking the lights on and off? Am I just gonna be that, like, zoned out, or am I gonna be like curled in the fetal position somewhere, you know, rocking myself? Just, you know, let me know so I can plan accordingly. So the next pick, I like this. This is gonna be a short freaking video. I am rolling through this, y'all, and I don't know if it's because of the sugar or the caffeine or what, but I think it's also because I've talked about these books before, so I feel like I don't really need to like hit on them. If you want more of a, you know, description of these, you know, let me know in the comments. So this is another library pick. So this one I'm really excited for. One, because like I'm like, ooh, I've never heard of this book. I just happened to glance over and see it. You know, I was just kind of scanning the spines, and this popped out at me. So Dracula My Love by Siri James. So, like, I know I said that this one gonna be messy. This one really sounds like it's gonna be messy. Like, you know, like the 1800s. Definitely, this is some Bridgerton drama here. So we all know the story of Dracula, or, you know, at least a rough outline of it, right? Like, I love the movie Dracula, but I'm not gonna lie, I have not, like, I started reading Dracula, you know, the actual novel. I started reading it like years ago, and it was interesting. It was, don't get me wrong, it was definitely like eerie. I was reading it, I was kind of into it, but then I kind of, you know, I don't know, it's kind of slow moving. It's slow, forgive me, but this sounds good. This follows our girl Mina, you know, Jonathan Harkin's wife. This follows her story. This sounds like it's gonna be like a diary, more or less, like her point of view on, you know, the situation between her and her husband, and then her attraction, her, you know, the pull that she has towards Dracula. So this little love triangle. So I am excited for this one. This one, I was gonna say, is this a short read? Nah, this is almost 500 pages. It's definitely not a short read, but I mean, it feels exciting. Like I feel like I should drink wine when I read this. Like, you know, I feel like I'm in grown folks' business reading this one, or at least that's how I feel like. I'm probably in some grown folks' business. All right, we are almost there. Let's see, next. Now this one has been on my TBR, I think, multiple times, and I don't know if I'm gonna get to this because I'm already reading a fantasy, and I really need to get that one done. But next pick is Blood and Bruhas by Michaela Hornado. So first of all, I mean, the cover. Bang, y'all don't look at my nails. They still ratchet. Look at that cover, y'all. And the sprayed edges. This is the Satisfaction edition. Satisfaction is a bi-monthly, I think it's bi-monthly book subscription service that highlights Black authors and authors of color, specifically fantasy writers. So this book here, I mean, this is gorgeous. So, I mean, with the title, it should kind of tell you we're dealing with, you know, blood, vampires, brujas, witches. So our main character, Dayanara, she is like the right-hand man to their coven leader, right? She's a witch. She is, you know, like the enforcer for her coven. Which it just so happens that her mother is the coven leader, you know, her mama, the queen bee of the coven. And so her mother wants to end this war, this battle between the witches and the vampires. And the best way she could think to do that is to get Dayanara to marry the vampire king. Which, you know, Dayanara ain't really with it. That's not really what she wants to do. So we're gonna kind of be on this ride, you know, this battle of wills between Dayanara and her mama, and Dayanara and the Vampire King. So sounds exciting. So last year I read a collaboration between Michaela Hornado and Neil Nicole. It was an ARC, Cuxtall Academy, and it was, y'all, I'm gonna drink some water. Which was kind of like a dark academia, romantasy, heavily influenced by like Mayan mythology, which I was like, hey, this is amazing. Like I hadn't read anything, you know, based on, you know, Mayan mythology, you know, African mythology, Greek mythology, but never Mayan mythology. So that was pretty exciting. So I highly anticipate a lot of representation in this book as well, and I'm excited. So number 9 on the list is Una Out of Order by Number 9 on the list is another one of those library books, and this is Una Out of Order by Margarita Y'all cannot talk today. Next on the list is Una Out of Order by Margarita Monomore. So this is one I picked up at the library a couple weeks ago, and this is one that's kind of highly anticipated for me. I saw this in Barnes & Noble last year, and I almost picked it up, and then I didn't, and I've been wanting to. Okay, yeah, this is a wild one. Let me just read it, bro. Like, I read it in the last video, but I'm gonna read it again here too. So it says, it's New Year's Eve, 1982, and Una Lockhart has her whole life before her. At the stroke of midnight, she will turn 19, and the year ahead promises to be one of consequence. Should she go to London to study economics, or remain at home in Brooklyn to pursue her passion for music and be with her boyfriend? The countdown to the new year begins. Una faints and awakens 32 years in the future in her 51-year-old body. Y'all, insane, right? And apparently, like, this keeps happening, like, every birthday. Is it every birthday? Yeah, so I don't want to say so each passing year she will leap to another age at random, and so begins Una Out of Order. That's wild. Yeah, this sounds quirky, this sounds interesting. So and then my last pick, it's not really a pick, it's one that I've just been working on. I can't even say that I've been working on it. I've just been in the middle of it, kind of put it off. And then I really need to kind of pick it back up because it's an arc, and I do believe that I believe it releases in October, I think. Yeah, so I'm working on Our Vicious Oats by Annie Davenport. So, yeah. So this is a romantasy. I think this is her first dive into like adult romantasy. I read her what was it? Something about trials. What was the Blood Trials? I think Blood Trials. That's what I think. I read this young adult series by her last year, and it was a duology, and it was phenomenal. Like badass female, badass, you know, FMC. It was stellar. And so now this one, pretty much the same. Well, not the same thing. We got a pretty, you know, badass main female character. And this one is really starting to feel like kind of like an enemies to lovers situation. Yeah, it's pretty darn spicy. And we're only like 30% in. We're only like 30% in. And they really can't stomach each other, but apparently there's just this undeniable sexual chemistry that they have. Not a bad read. It's just really, I didn't expect a spice. So I think she's just, you know, she giving people what they want, and I just wasn't expecting it. I mean, she got me stuttering. I just wasn't expecting this spice so much right out the gate. Let's find the premise. Let me really find the premise so I can tell you at least what it's supposed to be about. So, oh my gosh, y'all, I forgot that I'm actually in the middle of, oh snap, y'all. I done picked all these picks, and I forgot I was also in the middle of, I'm also in the middle of another book. I do this to myself. I really do. I mess myself up. So anyway, okay, so let's read this. It says, enter a new world of romantic fantasy from award-winning author Annie Davenport, a journey of powerful magic, enemies to lovers, and political intrigue. As a warrior princess and a vengeful king from rival fae courts form a fierce alliance to take down a merciless despot. Princess of the Aether Dominion, Kadisha wants nothing to do with fae politics. She is a warrior, first and foremost, and believes her greatest strength is leading her squadron of elite winged serpent flyers to protect her homeland. But bound since infancy to be betrothed to the Hyperion High King, a ruler of all dominions, she has no choice but to do what men have chosen for her. Ain't that a bitch? Repulsed by the idea, she decides to spend one last night of freedom. Y'all, does she? Well, let me tell y'all. She does. She decides to spend one last night of freedom in the arms of a dangerous stranger who takes her to sexual heights she's never experienced before, but who is only using Kadisha to set a trap for the High King. For the High King and the kings of his 6 dominions were responsible for the decimation of the Polyon court and its new king, Malachi, once his pound of flesh. On Kadisha's wedding day, Malachi and his special forces attack. Her father is killed, and Malachi wounds the High King, ultimately taking Kadisha as hostage back to his land. But she is no true hostage. The two form a pact. She will help lure the High King so Malachi can kill him once and for all, and he in turn will not harm Kadisha or the Aether people. This is a long blurb, y'all. Like, as much as Kadisha hates politics, she is now the queen of her folk. Fae bonds are unbreakable, and so perhaps is the attraction Kadisha and Malachi feel for each other. For even as they must publicly display their connection to provoke the High King's jealousy, they struggle to resist the powerful allure between them in order to achieve their ultimate goals. So at this point, it's really where I am. You know, I've reached the point where they've kind of like made their pact, and they showing out and showing off to, you know, make the king jealous. Oh, but yeah, I mean, that little scene, there's like a scene where it all goes down and her dad and, you know, all her people are killed. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. So I just need us to get back to the murder and mayhem. Less of the ham slamming. So I'm also in the middle of Loving You Always by Kennedy Ryan. I started reading this. I started reading this in my last vlog. So y'all, this is messy. I talked about it a little bit in the last video too. This is just messy. Okay, so this follows, this is part of the Bennett series. This follows the events of book 1. We've got a love triangle. We got 2 best friends and they're both in love with the same woman. Whew. I got a lot on my TBR, but like I said, no pressure, Shalita, no pressure. I will read what I want, read what I can, and then whatever else. I mean, if I'm still feeling it next month, I'll leave it on the card for next month. So that's all I have for you guys today. This is everything that well, I'm not gonna be reading all this month. These are my picks. It's what I have to choose from. So what are you all reading this month? Let me know down in the comments. And have you read any of these? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. All right, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends, bye.